Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RGF Survivor podcast. I am your host, Colin Connors. Tonight we have my wonderful co-host, Patrick Sullivan.
Shut the fuck up, Otis.
We have Prince Ty.
Good evening.
The ticking time bomb, Alicia Garza.
Hey, y'all.
Her better half, Jack.
Hi.
And we are here to discuss the most recent episode of the reality. Goddamn. And we are here to host the most recent episode of Survivor Cagayan. A lot of crazy stuff happened. We changed voices at some point. I don't know. Let's just start from the very beginning. The Brains tribe comes back, and every single one of them gets a confessional about how they're gonna do well and how the whole world's gonna be great. And I was thinking, holy crap, is editing setting up a huge Brain redemption story arc? Is that inevitable? And after tonight's episode, it actually seems pretty plausible. But Ty, let's talk about the Brains tribe, as you are one to use your brain sometimes.
All the time, but yes. Clearly, things worked out for them. I do not understand how time after time after time these minority tribes, in terms of like numbers, I mean, it happened in Philippines with
Malcolm and Denise.
It happens. It just seems to happen all the fucking time, and they never fucking learn the dangers of these small tribes that had to go through all this shit early on. I really cannot comprehend how stupid the beauties were over on that tribe that episode. I mean, I can kind of, because Morgan's not very bright, and Alexis is apparently busy twerking, and Jeremiah exists, so to that end, I'm not that surprised. But yes, clearly things are looking up for at least Tasha and Spencer. Cass still didn't do shit. She's kind of terrible. But the other two, I'd imagine they're going to do pretty well.
Well, yeah, let's go ahead and let's talk about the new Bronze tribe, which ironically doesn't have very many bronze members on it, and the fact that immediately right off the bat, all the beauty people were just spilling their guts out to the Brains, and I was watching just in disbelief that this was happening. Jack, what's your thoughts on this, and what's going to happen to the future? Are the beauties, can a beauty even win now? Because they're so fractured.
Yeah, I definitely think they are fractured, but I think everyone still has a chance to win. Or maybe not like Lindsay and a few other people. But I think people like LJ and maybe just LJ.
LJ, my boy.
Still have a chance to win. But I think when people saw that new tribe and they saw the 3 Brains members, who are obviously probably going to stick together because they were the last 3 members of their tribe, you saw Sarah, who was the only Braun left, and then the 3 beauties on the tribe, which were all kind of free agents, kind of just selling their entire, like, showing all of their cards to these Brain members, being like, pick me, like, I want to be on your team.
But why? Why didn't the beauties at least consider working together? Alicia, do you have a thought? Like,
I think it was the perfect storm of 3 people on that tribe that were the 3 that like weren't at all cohesive, because you had the seeds of doubt that were sown with Jeremiah and Alexis and Morgan, and then you had Alexis, who was like totally with Jeffra and LJ and was iffy on Jeremiah, and then you have Morgan, who got caught in a lie straight away. So you just had distrust all around, and I think all of them were kind of seeing that no one was going to stick together in that tribe.
So when that tribe goes to tribal council, Patrick, what's going to happen? Because I think the smartest thing for them to do would have been to try to get Sarah to vote out of Brain, because these are the Brains. These are the people that can win. But that's not going to happen.
That was my question, was where was Sarah in all this? Why wasn't anyone approaching her saying,
I definitely noticed that she was the only person, well, besides Cass, who, again, worthless, who did not mention what their overall strategic thought was heading into the vote. I'm thinking that it's going to come down to her. I feel she's going to have more of a say than was led on tonight, and that they just didn't really discuss it that much on account of the fact that they weren't going to be going to tribal council anyway. So let's show the beauties are stupid, and then we'll focus on the main appetizer, which is Trish getting her groove back, and Cliff getting sent home. So, I feel like Sarah's going to end up deciding the fate of the tribe. Honestly, she could try to probably get the beauties together. The beauties will probably fuck it up, and then she'll just be like, fuck it. And then it'll be the brains plus her, because it doesn't seem that the brains were overly impressed with any of the beauties. So it could still have a 4-3 split, regardless.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate. The brains have been playing this whole game, voting out people way too early. Why the hell wouldn't they just vote out Sarah, and knowing that they could fracture the beauties whenever? Patrick, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I think it was shown, and the beauties are just going to they're going to go after each other, because Morgan was already on the outs, and like Alicia said, I mean, it was the three worst, least cohesive people from the beauty tribe. If it had been like LJ, Jeffra, and Alexis together, then I think they would have stuck together. But they're just trying to make the merge, I'm guessing, by going with the brains.
Are we going to see a merge in 2 episodes, a merge at 12, or are they going to hold it back till 10? Any thoughts?
I think we'll see it at 11, which I think could come sooner, because I'm assuming if Lindsay quits early on next episode, I'm assuming there will still be a boot.
Well, and I feel like today's challenge was originally 6-on-6, so 2 people, someone said on each tribe, and that meant maybe they're playing that challenge at 12, which means we might not be merging at 12. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
I was going to say that too, but I guess they couldn't really run the risk of playing it and not having enough people. Like, if they'd wanted it to be 6-6, but then one of the tribes lost twice in a row, and then it's down to 5 versus 7.
Oh! That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I gave it some thought.
Yeah.
So it's like, do we chance it, or do we, like, sit one person out or 2 people out? It just...
No.
So that actually kind of shoots my theory all to kaput.
Sorry.
Anyway, no, that's why we have this podcast, so we can, all work together and figure out what's going on. Now, I will say this, though. In that first reward challenge, they made a big deal about, oh, no, they can't, New Braun can't, win the challenge, blah, blah, blah. When New Beauty had Cliff on it, and Cliff was a damn tank. I was not surprised at all that they could not move him. And Jeff
preposterous.
Yeah, and having Jeff Post be like, oh, their brains lost again. Well, no shit, you lost that challenge. Come on.
And then he was like,
It was
Sarah's
hilarious that they had Cliff versus Alexis.
Yeah.
On the fucking ball. I mean, come on. What the fuck strategy was that? Come on.
Well, I mean, anytime there's someone like Cliff doing a challenge like that, I say it's almost borderline just unfair, because Cliff must wait.
Never been anyone quite that fucking big. I mean, Jesus. I mean,
Patrick, what are your thoughts on Big Cliff on the pole?
You're not going to move that guy. They had a good effort, I suppose, but they should have just saved their strength and been like, look, all right, y'all win. And it was funny because they're like, Probst was like, Sarah's, she's not making it easy and opening up the door for the other tribe. And I'm like, no way.
Well, I will say this, there's one strategy that was not implemented in this challenge that I will try if I do. And when people's arms are like that, there's a really easy way to get it undone. You just tickle them.
My strategy, if I was on the pole, would be once they start.
Oh my god, I would be so.
And once they start, I would just
them.
take off into the jungle.
Spencer Jeremiah tickling Cliff.
Patrick, you do what?
I would just if I was holding onto the pole, like once they said go, I'd just take off into the jungle, and it would just be a foot race. Can you do that?
I don't know, but you can tickle though, because I've actually wrestled with people that are bigger than me, and that's how I've gotten the upper hand, by tickling them. So
that's creepy.
Well, for a moment, I forgot that we were podcasting, and I just thought we were Skyping as we normally do after the show and just joking around.
No, this is the podcast. This
is the podcast.
This will be heard by tens of people of my tickling strategy, and if any of these people go on the show, I expect them to tickle.
Really, actually genius. I would be furious with you and probably want to punch you in the face if I was the person on the pole, but that is smart stuff.
No, I'm the littlest brother. That's how I would get out of stuff. When I would get beat up.
Poor Colin.
Anyways, and I'm glad, Jack, you chimed in. What's your thoughts on Cliff Robinson and him leaving? And if I could actually hear from Cliff himself right now, that would be, I think, most appropriate.
So, I tried to get my Braun tribe to stick together because we had the numbers 5 versus 2. Me and Wu were super tight and could have had Tony and Lindsay on board, but Trish, she's got a mind of her own. She's not very smart with that mind, but I gotta give her credit. She beat me, and that's fair and square. I want to say good luck to the rest of my tribe, and peace out.
Classy man he is.
Classy man, Cliff. I'm glad you could join us.
What a class act, Cliff.
Okay. So, yeah, let's go ahead and let's just jump on New Beauty and LJ and Trish. And Trish is now in love with LJ.
Here's what it is. They get along because LJ's a horse trainer, right? And Trish, she's a horse.
Oh.
Jesus.
Yes.
So he's got her trained.
This podcast was just supposed to do like the most detailed strategic analysis of Survivor. And we're talking about Trish as a horse.
That's true.
Hey.
Well, I mean, that's a very important part.
It gives new meaning to the term, give me some sugar.
Wow. Well, Patrick, since you seem to be a Trish fan, let's talk about that. And did Trish make the right move tonight?
God. No, I don't, well, I don't know enough about the former Braun tribe because I know that Lindsay hated her, and then Wu and Cliff or whatever, I think got out that she wanted to flip, or they thought she did, so maybe she made the right decision just going ahead and going with it because she would have been on the bottom with them.
Well, I'm not so surprised of Lindsay flipping, but I'm more surprised of Tony flipping because I think Tony was in the right saying vote out LJ this round and then get Cliff the round after, so that way you don't have LJ being a dark horse, so to say. Alicia, your thoughts on that?
Well, if he was to do that, it would kind of be too late because then at the very most he'd have 3-on-3 and it'd go to a tie because he'd have to count on Jeffra and Trish, who he hadn't voted with the last round if he had voted LJ out, to vote out Cliff, and Lindsay and Wu weren't going to turn their back on him. So it was one of those moves that had to be made right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with them, they both did a good thing because, they went from the highest they could have possibly been in that 5-some was number 4, and the lowest they could possibly be in this new 4-some is number 4. So I think they definitely traded up.
Mm-hmm. And
I have a
Todd,
comment.
Todd, go ahead.
I think it was a terrible move to the degree that if you're thinking long term, which I always do in Survivor and in Duke,
For
if you're
Tony,
thinking
right?
long term, who's more dangerous? A social threat who has, granted they have no way of knowing that he has an idol, but a social threat who isn't literally the biggest target in the game and that can maneuver and then, let's put it this way, he was in a 5-2 disadvantage and just like that, Trish was, ready for the stud to mount. And you compare that against Cliff, who literally was completely unaware of the fact that his tribe tried to throw a fucking challenge to get rid of him last round. It made sense for Trish, since Trish is crazy, and, no one valued her anyway, but Tony, if Tony views himself as any sort of a strategist, he could have easily gotten rid of Cliff later. He's not going to win every single fucking immunity challenge.
And honestly,
at some point he will lose, and at some point he will be gone. Now you have a bigger threat who's smarter than you and has an idol. You're fucked.
That's the assumption that the moment Cliff would have lost in a merge situation, everyone would have turned on him. If you're at Final 6 or Final 7, it doesn't matter what alliances, everyone would have turned on him. And also, I think more why it would have been smarter to vote out LJ for Tony. Tony knows exactly what Sarah's relationship is with Cliff. So come merge, he knows that variable. He has no idea how the other beauties feel about LJ.
Yep.
LJ has more mystery, so that's why LJ shows on.
If those other beauties make it, save for Morgan, who is an idiot, Jeremiah is going to go back to LJ, Alexis is going to go back to LJ if they survive to the merge and LJ is still there. They will all be numbers, they will unite. Not that Jeremiah is necessarily sullen, because he, too, is stupid, but, for lack of any other better it's easy to convince somebody who isn't that smart to follow again.
I mean, I would actually say they all made the wrong move, and they probably should have just voted out Trish, because she wasn't going to keep their tribe strong, and there's a very good possibility that if they voted out Trish, they could just, like, sweep all the rest of the immunity challenges.
That's an excellent
because they no longer really have a weak link.
Well, sure.
And they get rid of that annoying laugh.
And they get rid of the person that they mistrusted, and then that would possibly force LJ and Jeffra to vote for Trish because it wouldn't be them. So
I kind of thought with the edit, like early on, someone, I think it was Cliff, said something about getting rid of Trish, and I thought maybe everything would blow up and flip on her, which is kind of what I was rooting for with the edit. But
well, speaking of editing, I actually wrote this down. The editing this season has been phenomenal. I mean, has anyone actually gotten a strong, good edit? And even so, no one's getting an abundance of confessionals. I still have really no idea who's going to win. I mean, there's a couple people who I think maybe might not win, but even so, in 3 or 4 episodes, give them a bunch of confessionals, they become contenders. Let's talk about that. Jack, I want to hear your opinion on the editing and your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I definitely agree that the editing is really, really well done. The past few seasons, we've known around, like, episode 5, like, oh, it's probably going to be Tyson, it's probably going to be Cochran who wins this season. But this time it's been really, really well done. Early on, I know a lot of people thought Sarah had the best edit.
Nope.
And then you saw some cracks in her edit when she was trusting Tony, and then we were shown that Tony was lying to her. So they're sort of building up these characters, and they're not just overloading us with, like, good. They're balancing out, like, here's some good in their play, here's some bad in their play to create well-balanced characters that are enjoyable for the viewers to watch.
Mm-hmm. Patrick or Ty, anyone want to contribute to the editing conversation?
LJ's getting the best edit. I don't think that's...
Because LJ's the best player!
Yeah. If I were to list contenders, if I were, like, doing an edit, my thought process would be LJ would be the number 1 contender, and then you'd have the 2 competent brains, because of how things have turned now. Spencer and Tasha in some sort of 2-3 variation. And then Ice would still have Sarah at number 4 because it's not going to fucking be Tony. And Sarah seems to be the brightest of the bronze at this point. I mean, you can pretty much eliminate... I mean, unless we're going to have a Fabio winner, in which case I guess, woo!
My pick.
Doing his thing. It's not going to be Trish. It's not going to be Lindsay, clearly. I would be shocked if it was Tony. So they're all gone. Does anyone think Jeffra's going to fucking win?
Jeffra, I think, could be a Natalie White type winner.
Oh,
I could picture that. But I would also agree, I don't think we're going to see a Jeremiah victory. Just something, I just don't feel it. I don't think that's going to happen.
I feel like LJ is the only beauty hope, but he's also getting the best edit by far. And again, he just barely survived death and kept his idol all at the same time. No one could possibly think he has an idol at this point, because why on earth would he randomly trust Tony to keep Tony? Well, did Tony even approach LJ during the episode? I mean, I'm sure he did at some point that we didn't see, but I mean, during the episode, he's literally living on a prayer. Works out for him. Any sensible person, let's put it this way, I'd have played my idol.
Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to mention. Like, how the hell did LJ not play his idol?
They didn't show it. There had to have been some kind of conversation and deals made and trust bonded over something.
But before. I mean, even so, though, if Tony would have
ballsy.
LJ. I would even argue that him playing the idol was a bad move, just because every single variable pointed to him needing to play it, and he still didn't do it. But he has it, and he's still in. So
yeah.
At one point, Tony started talking about in the tribal council, whether he would be staying with the same group or moving, or like being with a new group and moving forward. And so that kind of was the first time we'd heard Tony in tribal council be like, oh, maybe everything's all daisies and roses. And so I think maybe that continued on and we just didn't get to hear it. And maybe Tony said something that was enough that, like, LJ felt completely comfortable not using the idol. Or at least not completely comfortable, but more comfortable than not.
He had to have been pretty damn comfortable if he didn't play that thing.
And I think Ty has made an excellent point. No one will assume LJ has an idol now. And I think that's going to be very, very important come merge, that no one would even think that LJ could have it.
let's put it this way: there are two idols in play. One is held by big mouth idiot Russell wannabe, and the other one is held by LJ. Who do you think is going to win?
Maybe they'll think Morgan has it because she was exposed.
Oh yeah, should we take that brief little moment to talk about Sarah exposing Morgan and what glory that was?
Oh, that was beautiful.
It was great.
It was really great of her because she knew that she was of the lone wolf on that tribe, so she mentioned in her confessional that she wanted to talk about that to see if she could create any seed of doubt, and thankfully she struck a home run with Morgan.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, seeing Alexis is it dawned on her expression, come to her face while the camera was on it. It was pretty good.
Yes, it was.
It was like a double. At first she was like, Mimi, and then she was like,
The surprised reactions in this episode were really good, especially when the last vote was read.
I was surprised. I was like, LJ's going to go home with an idol. 2 people going home with an idol this season. Good job.
Yeah, I was thinking no, but then Lindsay, Cliff, and Woo's face were priceless.
Mm-hmm. So, something I want to bring up real quick, and that was Jeff Probst at the beginning of the immunity challenge was like, alright, we're getting rid of the baby, and we're going to keep the mom or the dad, or some other stupid joke. They should have cut that and given us more something else. Yay or nay?
10 seconds.
Yay or nay? I wanted something else. Jeff Probst is not good at telling jokes. Yay or nay?
I laughed really hard,
okay,
but I also love terrible jokes.
Okay,
so.
Alicia is a yay that Jeff should have kept the joke. Ty, yay or nay for the joke?
What the fuck else are you going to put in for 10 seconds? Let Probst have his fun.
I don't know.
It's corny, but that's what Probst does.
Trish laughing for
Whatever
10
Tony
seconds.
uttered that made LJ not play his idol.
Okay.
Vote reveal on a jet ski, for Christ's sake.
That was different, because that was stylish. Okay, so 2 yays. Jack, yay or nay on the joke?
Yay.
God damn it, Patrick.
Colin, I think you're alone on this, buddy.
I am a lone wolf on this.
What do we want to see? Some stupid joke that, it was kind of funny, or Trish laughing for 10 more seconds.
I would have preferred neither and had more Tony doing Tony stuff.
He needs to rebuild his spy shack.
He does. Hashtag spy shack, hashtag blindside.
Tribe is gonna find the spy shack?
Oh, yeah.
What is the other tribe?
That no one knew about.
The other tribe is gonna be like, why is there a hole in
Maybe
the wall?
Sarah will, I don't know, because there's no way that Tony could have, carved his little initials in there, but...
Tony was here 2014. 2014 Hags.
Anyways, it was a great episode. Let's talk about what we think is going to happen next week. The previews obviously make it out that Lindsay's going to quit, and I believe it. She seems like she could quit. She seems like she's unstable. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ask everyone, is Lindsay going to is Lindsay going to quit, or is someone else going to get voted out, and if so, who? And maybe it could be something crazy like Lindsay doesn't quit and then Spencer gets voted out. But Patrick, what are your thoughts on next week?
I didn't see that part, but just based on what they do, maybe they do a double tribal council, because we haven't had one of those, and Lindsay quits, and then someone else gets voted out on the other tribe.
Someone kind of like a Morgan or an Alexis?
I could see either of those two girls
Or
going.
Jeremiah.
I could see Jeremiah going, actually. That's my pick.
Actually, that's a smart thing, because I think the brains would either target Sarah because she's going to be a threat come the merge, that's what they're thinking, or maybe Jeremiah because he's going to be an athletic threat. Anyways, Alicia, your thoughts?
On?
Oh, who's going home next week, and if Lindsay's going to quit?
Well, the big Jeff Probst was, talking to Lindsay, and that doesn't really happen unless someone's pitched such a fit that they had to get him down there. Jack and I actually rewound the DVR and made sure it was him. So I think she's gone. It's kind of been building, and she doesn't seem like she's enjoying it enough to outweigh how she's not enjoying it, I guess. Which I think is stupid, but...
Jack, your thoughts?
Lindsay is gonna quit.
And then is there going to be a tribal council next week also?
Yes.
What's going to happen?
I'm gonna say they vote out Jeremiah.
Okay, Jeremiah. So Jeremiah's going home apparently. Ty, is Jeremiah going home, and is Lindsay going to quit?
Lindsay is going to quit. I hope it's Jeremiah that goes home, because I fucking hate him. the fact that he's basically a JT ripoff, but stupider. That being said, I'm going to say one of the two beauty girls go home. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming Morgan, because I picked Alexis to win, because I had to. So, I think Morgan goes.
And this is something, real quick little tidbit. With Cliff being voted out, so far there have been 5 people voted out this season, and only one's been a girl.
Yeah.
Think about it. How often...
I was watching the episode, and Zora Evan mentioned to me that this is guaranteed, assuming that the merge is at 11, which is what he's expecting, kind of what I'm expecting at this point. I could see the merge being 2 weeks from now. It would be the first guaranteed time since One World. Or was it One World, or was it... Hold on, let me look this comment up.
Well, I do know this is the very first season in Survivor history to have 3 guys be voted out in a row.
Oh, wow.
I should have cast you, Colin.
I know, that this shit wouldn't have gone down like that if I was on there.
It's going to be the first female majority at the merge since Heroes vs. Villains?
Oh, wow.
Fucking right. I mean, I don't think anything will come of it. I would imagine they're all too disjointed and whatnot.
So before we go on a little rant about how the women are going to take over this season, is there any final thoughts or last minute comments anyone wants to make? Any soapboxes anyone wants to assemble and stand on with the spy shack in the back?
I think we're good.
No, okay.
Run, LJ, run.
We covered everything. Goddamn, Patrick, what do you have to say?
I was going to say run, LJ. She's crazy.
Alright. Yes, LJ, run. LJ didn't seem that into her. Anyways, I want to thank everybody so much for listening. Have a wonderful afternoon. Or night, or whenever you listen to it.
Wait.
What?
Sleep on this. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.